Well, welcome. It's Saturday night in Denver. And you all had a choice to what you wanted to do tonight, right? And you chose to come here. So thank you. Thank you, guests. Thank you, folks that have been spending the day with us. What an exciting day. Fantastic information was shared all day. We had fun as a group all day, and now y'all are going to have some fun. We're going to tell you about some wonderful things that are going on with our company. As you know who you folks are that invited you, you know that the wonderful things are going on with them as well. We've got some fantastic presenters. If you saw the flyer, we've got our top leaders and a top trainer here tonight to talk to you about what Life Force International is all about. We're going to let you know about some things that might make you a little sad. But more importantly, we're going to let you know about things that will make you really happy. So again, thank you for coming. And our first speaker that we have coming up tonight is going to give us an overview of what this is all about. He's a gentleman that is a top earner in the industry, not just our company, but in the industry. He is also happens to be a friend of mine, which I'm happy to say, proud to say as well, but really respected throughout the industry and throughout our company. Let's give a big, great big round of applause to Michael Jude.
Thank you. And thanks, Scott. And thanks all of you for choosing to spend your evening with us. I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what we're going to do, but first of all, let me ask a question. How many of you are guests here tonight? You're not part of Life Force, you're here checking it out, you want to see what's going on? Great, well thanks for coming. And you know, at the end of this presentation, you'll arguably be in one of three places. You'll be in a place of, wow, this is great, but not for me, thanks very much, and we say thank you. Thanks for taking a look. We're happy to have you here. You might also say, these products sound like something I want for myself, I want it for my family, I want it for my friends. I want to have more energy. I want my brain to function better. I want my immune system to function better. I want things that have been bugging me for a while, maybe to clear up, maybe lose some weight. I want to feel youthful energy, sleep better, think better, feel better, perform better. I want that for myself, and we say thanks for taking a look at that, and we'll actually help you get those benefits. We'll help you by actually working with you. We'll get you a personal wellness coach that will help you maximize your investment into these products. You might also be in a third place. You might say, wow, these products sound great, I want them in my life. But this business sounds even better. It sounds like I could finally have some financial freedom, some security in my life, an evergreen income, an income where I can work and keep getting paid again and again and again and again for doing that work. That sounds really attractive. So at the end of this, you'll probably be in one of those three places. And in the meantime, you know, if you have any questions, maybe jot them down. We'll stick around afterward to answer them or interact. But I want to actually acknowledge what's going on in the world today. Probably each of us know there's an economic recession on. Some people would say it's a depression, and it's global. It's not just here, it's not just there, it's everywhere, it's across the globe. And part of the problem with that is it affects us as individuals. When companies are going out of business, industries are disappearing, governments are in trouble, currencies are in trouble, things most intelligent people would say the future probably will not look like the past. Maybe some of the good times we had, some of the things that we enjoyed, some of them will never return again. Matter of fact, if you're you know, in middle age or beyond, if you are laid off or out of work, you may never again work in that industry for the rest of your life. Whole industries are disappearing. But the good news is, during these hard economic times, there's also opportunity. You see, in the last big depression, you know, you saw the bread lines, people were on welfare and food stamps, kind of like today. Except today you don't have to get in a line, they just give you a little credit card. But it's out there, folks. We went from 23 million people on food stamps to 40+ million people on food stamps just in the last few years. It's tough. How many of you know somebody that has either lost a job, at risk of losing a job, maybe even yourself getting underemployed, they're cutting back on your hours, cutting back on your benefits? Probably everybody. Either we know somebody or we know somebody that knows somebody. How many of us know somebody that's underwater? If you're a homeowner, can't make your mortgage, or you're paying the mortgage and the house is worth less than the loan. And that may or may not be you, but you may know people, and certainly it's no secret that that's happening around the country and around the globe. But here's the good news. The good news is that in the last depression, when it was really tough, kind of like today, the money didn't just disappear. It wasn't like some big vacuum cleaner came down and sucked all the money out. It wasn't that way at all. It's just that the money changed pockets. You see, it changed pockets. And you know what's going on today? They're printing lots of money, right? You read the newspapers, you know they're printing more money than ever. So it's not that there's a lack of money. There may be a lack of money in your bank account or in your pocket. So what we're about here is about offering strategies that you can apply so that you can create wealth. You can create more money and the opportunity that money brings in your life. And guess what? You don't have to be Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or these big entrepreneurs to do that. What we're about is a way for average people of average background, average means, to actually create an above average, extraordinary life for themselves. True security, increasing income in retirement instead of diminishing income. As a matter of fact, I want to tell you my story. My own personal story of a depression of sorts, but it was a personal depression. Call it 20 years ago. My wife and I, we both come from middle class or lower middle class backgrounds. We weren't born into wealth. I wasn't raised around money. I pretty much was a person that lack of money ruled my life. Like what I could do or not do was ruled by the lack of money. What I could eat, where I could go, what I could wear, what I could drive, how I was, whether I had to work or not, was determined by the lack of money in my life, probably like a lot of people. But this was a particularly hard time for us. We were newlyweds 20 years ago, and we didn't have any retirement or savings or any of that stuff. We were pretty much struggling. I mean, it was a good life because we had each other, but nonetheless, we were hurting financially. As a matter of fact, we had, I don't want to say been irresponsible, but maybe people that have done this. We had run up a lot of credit card debt, like $50,000 worth. And our jobs were paying us next to nothing. These were just slightly above minimum wage jobs. We didn't have access to a way to pay that off, okay? You know that statement comes in every month and they got this little thing that says, if you make the minimum payment, 26 years from now, your children will still be paying it, that one? We were getting further behind every month. We weren't getting ahead, and we had no foreseeable way to create $50,000 to pay it off. Well, like I said, we had a good life. We had each other. But what happened to us was a friend of ours introduced us to this thing called network marketing. Maybe like someone who invited you to listen to this message, has had a good experience, wanted to share with you. At first, I didn't know quite what to make of it. I didn't know much about it. I had opinions about it. And what I found out was those opinions were not accurate. They were actually flawed, deeply flawed. My image of network marketing at that time was, no offense to our senior citizens, but it was a bunch of gray-haired old ladies going door to door selling each other soap. And I said, yeah, that's not for me. I have no interest in that. But let me give you an example of how that thinking was flawed. If I mention the name John F. Kennedy to you, what's the image that comes to your mind? Well, a good-looking young guy, a couple of young kids, a beautiful wife, successful, right? That's the image you get. If John Kennedy were alive today, if he were still alive, he would be in his 90s. He would probably not have that great hairstyle he had. Those kids would be probably most of our age, right? And so that image wasn't accurate. I don't know what image you have of network marketing, but I want to share the results of my getting exposed to the industry. Today, my wife and I have a fabulous life. We still have each other after 20 years, very much in love. And we have the financial resources to have an extraordinary life. You see, every month for the last 10 years or more, actually 15 years, we've been making the kind of income that we couldn't even imagine. We now make more every single month than we owed on the credit cards. We give away more money to charity every year than most people make. We're able to have homes where we want, travel if and when we want, with who we want. We're able to invest in projects like charities and people that we believe in. We have true financial security. You see, the difference between my perception of network marketing now versus 20 years ago is dramatic. What I know now is this is the most authentic, equitable, and fair way to distribute wealth on the planet. Because for a change, we have access to this beautiful thing called wealth creation. Instead of being a victim of lack of money, we now have the money that empowers us to be more of who we are, to do what we want to do, to empower others. And the beautiful thing is that we do it in a way that helps other people get what they want. Better health, more freedom, greater sense of community, deep, profound, loving relationships, and work that makes a difference. Work that feels good and challenges us in a good way. And I don't know how old any of you are, but if you're getting to where I am, you got a little silver hair, I started thinking about the people I'm going to leave behind one day. One really exciting thing about network marketing is, when Chris and I pass on to the other place, the company will not stop sending us checks. Now, you may be thinking, well, how do they get them up there or down there, wherever you guys are going? They don't. At least not that I know of. Who knows? They keep sending them to our estate or our children or our charities or our friends or whoever we designate. Now, I want to ask you all a question. You may be in business for yourself. You may have a job. You may have a service. You may be a doctor or an accountant or a teacher or whatever you are. I want to ask you the question, really. If you stop working today, how much longer will you get paid? How much longer will you get paid if you stop working today? I mean, the short answer is probably for most of us, we won't. And you may have a pension, you may have a severance package, you may get a couple of weeks, a couple of months, whatever. But essentially, you stop working, the money stops. See, network marketing is different. It's designed differently. You think about these big corporations, Google and Ford Motor Company, and they have a system and a structure set up that creates wealth, and it does it very well, and it has for hundreds of years, and it gives us cars, and it gives us things, and it works really well. But the way that wealth creation is set up, that money funnels up to a point, and that goes to the shareholders. It goes to a small group of people who can afford to get involved, or they, however they get involved. And that's great, and that works. And a lot of people have their security and their retirements tied up in these corporations. Wonderful, wonderful way to go. This is different. This is designed to take that same money, but it's not a funnel, it's actually the opposite of a funnel. It actually distributes the money to us who do the work. Instead of us being workers, making a small part, right? We are the workers and we get the big part. And it's completely fair because we get the part we work for. We don't work, we don't get paid. But if we work and get paid and we create wealth, we create satisfaction in the market, then we get paid again and again and again and again for the rest of our life and beyond. on that original work. Because we have created something. I mean, you create a dam or a road, the guy who creates it, it goes on beyond his lifetime, doesn't it? Toll road keeps getting paid. So I'm hoping that I maybe have given you a different view of network marketing. Maybe open up your thinking a little bit to the possibility here for you. And I want you to kind of play along with me for a second. If you woke up tomorrow and you got a call from the bank and they said, you know what? We just checked the records and overnight there was this massive amount of money put into your account. It's enough money that you'll need to live the rest of your life and then some. And we checked, it's yours, no strings attached, there it is, have a great day. And it's legitimate. And suddenly you wake up and you've got all the money you need. Here's the question. What would you do with the rest of your life? If you didn't have to work, you had your time, you had financial security, what would you do with the rest of your life? Now, Chris and I have had to engage with this question, like a lot of people in this room, and it can be a problem. I mean, if I figure the rest of my life I want to do things like watch television, I mean, that's great, that's okay, but that doesn't feel like an appropriate response for me, so I've had to create things that I want to do with the rest of my life. Now, it's an exciting problem to have, it's an exciting challenge, and I'm going to offer that to you, because it's a very real possibility that you could get yourself in that place quickly. So what would you do with the rest of your life if you had all the time and all the money to do what you want? And I've asked thousands of people this question. Some people say, well, I'd be with my kids or my grandkids. Other people say, well, I'd love climbing. I'd climb the mountains of the world. I'd walk the beaches of the world. People say, I'd just do nothing. I'd sit on the porch and forget what I was doing and do nothing. Whatever it is, I submit that this is your birthright. This is what we're designed to do. We're not here to be wage slaves. We're not here to be victims of lack. I mean, we can choose that. You're free to choose whatever you want. And there's choosing and there's doing. And what we have here is a way for you to do that if you choose that. We have a vehicle that's been around 50, 60 years. It's solid, it's legitimate, and it provides a valuable service to people worldwide. The question for you is, what's up for you? Is this something that interests you? Because if it does, I would love to have you up here one day telling your story. I'd love for you to say, you know, I was doing this in my life and that happened and I came to this thing and I found out something and I decided to take a chance and I got involved, took a little step and got my toes wet and felt good. I got my ankle in and felt good and I got my leg in and, you know, I'm all in. I love this thing. It's made a huge difference in my life and I'd like to offer it to you. See, the biggest gift for me is to pass it on. Is to pass it on. So I'm not going to tell you a lot more about me, but I do want to tell you a little bit about our company, and then we're going to ask another speaker to come up and tell you about our products, and then a third speaker to come up and talk about our industry and suggestions as to how, if this makes sense to you, you could get involved. Our company is, first of all, almost 30 years old, okay? Long-term established company, not a new startup that's going to go out of business tomorrow. Matter of fact, the statistics on new business startups are pretty bad. You probably heard, you know, one out of 5 survive a few years. It gets even more dramatic as you go out 5 years, 10 years. A company that's been around 10, 20 years, they're going to be around a long time if they're, you know, current in the market, if they're positioned well. LifeForce is positioned extremely well. We own our own manufacturing. The executive team is solid. They've been in their positions a long time. We distribute our products around the globe. You know, we're a solid company. That's important. Even more important is we're a company with heart. The community of people who are involved with us are here to make a difference. We all need to make a living, But some of us choose to make a living while we make a difference, okay? I've done work in my life that I didn't personally believe in, but I needed to make a living. Well, if that resonates with you, here's a chance to actually get involved and aligned with something that can make you feel good about what you do and make you feel good about your bank account. Those two go together really, really well. Even more importantly, our product and our company, the products that we have in our company are transformative products. They're not designed cheaply, and they're not designed with shortcuts, and they're not designed with a lot of stuff you can't pronounce. Our product line is grounded in the natural health and healing model. They're safe for long term, and there's a huge, huge growing demand for the benefits that our products bring. And maybe the last piece that is most important is that access to this opportunity, to the company, to the lifestyle, is not determined by where you went to school, what language you speak, what's your gender, what's your color, what's your income, your background, who you know, none of that. Your IQ, none of that. There are two things you need to succeed here. You need a dream or a goal, and you need to be willing to work to get it. And if you're willing to do those two things, then I would invite you to take a look and see what kind of success you can generate for yourself. So Scott, I'm going to invite you to come back up and introduce our next speaker.